pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Okay, savvy investors, let me tell you something that is incredible, impossible. A lot of you may think credit. Now, I'm not talking about credit at a bank. I'm talking about credit card credit. I'm talking about consumer debt credit. Okay, so you read a lot of books, a lot of taboo about, oh man, you shouldn't have credit cards, or you think I can't get into real estate because I have no money, or whatever your mind tells you. Today on this episode, we're gonna debunk that whole deal. I have in my world, a celebrity. You may not know this guy. He's in radio episode number 16. It's Max Bessonov. Did I get it right, homie?
Yeah.
Okay. He was so willing to come back on the radio show. This is the first guy that I've had back twice, and his message is incredible. He's so humble. Obviously, he came from Russia, from nothing to the United States where they have air conditioning, because in the studio it's hot in here, and I try to blaze it freezing cold, and I'm like, is it cold enough for you? He's like, I'm from Siberia. You can't get me any colder than this. His attitude is incredible, and he has nerves, I would say balls of steel, because just real quick, I'm going to wrap off some quick things. One, he has 19 credit cards. 2, he has purchased real estate with his credit cards, paid labor, you name it. He has an algorithm, a spreadsheet created to get credit cards at certain times to pay off certain bills like insurance. And then on top of all that, he has a credit score of 858. No joke. We just logged in. We just looked at his FICO score, and it's 858. I thought I had something going at 7 something. This guy just smashed me, and I just got debunked because I have 3 credit cards, and I'm very meticulous, I would say religious about managing them, different ratios, and we're going to talk about that. And I keep 3. I thought, more than 3 or more than 5, you're going to get dinged. Well, this guy's got 19, Max Bessonov. So I like to say his name's kind of sexy. We're going to talk all about that here on this episode. This is an episode to motivate you, not to get into debt per se, but just to realize that you can be creative in real estate, that you can fulfill your dreams, live your dreams of owning an asset, an income producing asset, or just even Max's dream of just living here in the United States and owning a piece of property. We're going to hear about his wife and how creative she is with the rewards of credit cards, which is extremely fascinating to me as well, because I do like to travel and vacation, especially having 5 on my team, 3 children. It gets real costly, and we use all rewards, and that's how.
Oh,
and
that
he
starts adding up.
Yeah, he just said that. He just said we do rewards for vacations, and so do we. And he has a new baby. So let's just, enough of me ranting about him. We're going to get down and dirty. So Max is from Russia, was an exchange student, came to the United States in high school. Then his sponsors encouraged him to go to college. He stayed in college. He has a mathematical wizard mind. He's an engineer by trade, by day. He is in Oklahoma. I still don't understand why, but he is. He likes to hear. He met his wife, and is that you met her here? Right?
Yeah, we met
okay. So that's why. Me too. And then he mastered stocks, ramped the stock trading to $1 million, and then overnight lost it all. And then fell into real estate, and then is buying real estate with credit cards. It's fascinating. He is on radio show number 16, so scroll down and listen to him, and you'll get even more motivational background. But enough of all that jazz. So, credit cards. So, first of all, are you scared of credit cards? Because, that's all you hear about is, you're in trouble. People are in trouble. We're over debt and credit card debt.
You could get in trouble, but ever since, actually, back when in college, as soon as I read that whole Rich Dad Poor Dad about good dad and bad dad, it just really clicked for me that what it really gives you is leverage. And even before that, when I first, originally I just got it just because, you walk down campus and they're like, hey, you get a free T-shirt, sign up for this card. I didn't even realize I could get a card because, I was a foreigner here. Right, yeah.
So
but they did, yeah.
Did you have a social back then?
I just got a social, yes. As soon as I got it, but it had like a big stamp in it, saying that, from
it's
here.
temporary.
Yeah. It's, it just says, but still, they still gave me a card. It was like, first one was like $500.
Yeah, so did I. What do you remember what brand it was?
American Express. It was like
American
blue
Express
for students, something. It was like a special student edition, something. Yeah.
I remember vividly being on campus as well. And but my motive was I wanted stuff. I wanted clothes or things, and I had no money. And, oh man, I got a credit card with a $500 balance.
Right.
And
but what happened is, as soon as I started reading about it, I found that basically they look, the more you use it, the better credit, the more they'll
increase it,
raise the limit. So I just immediately thought, well, I should be able to put tuition on this thing. But back then, my tuition was like $15,000 or something like that.
Wow.
So, and I had a sponsor from Russia that I was trading for, and so I figured, well, I need to be able to raise it. So I was living in the dorms, and let's say a lot of us would go to like Walmart or something, like buying furniture, or people are buying stuff,
Yeah, first day of school.
Yeah,
type of stuff. Okay.
And people like 18-year-olds, right? They were pulling out either checks or cash, and I'm like, and I got this card. I'm like, dude, give me the cash and I'll pay for it with a card. And then immediately I just pay off the card.
Right.
So like, it just looked like I was spending thousands of dollars every month. And they started raising my limit.
Bam.
I'm like, okay, that's great. I can do that.
And then did you just ran down and just paid it that day, or how'd you transfer?
Pretty much, I just paid it off as soon as I could. I was actually, I remember I was frustrated because like at some point that Amex card, like it would only let you pay twice during the billing period, and I'm like,
wow.
Man, so that to me it meant I couldn't do it fast enough, because it wasn't costing me anything,
Well, I do a similar thing here at Chase. I just drove through drive-through, and that's for credit payment slip.
And it was just a way, and they started raising the limit, and then I was able to, once you have one, you can apply, and usually it's like a proof, like the banks will give you credit.
Yeah, for your credit
if you
worthy.
prove that you don't need the credit, right?
Well, yeah. Also, guys, get excited because we're going to get deep into this, but we're going to go over how to get a good credit score. We're going to go over the mechanics of credit and all that jazz. So hang tight. So how did you decide to get into real estate with a credit card? And I know we have a sweet deal. You just got a deal, and you have a credit card plan for this deal. So we're going to cover that as well. But like back then, when you were, when did you realize that you could use this for real estate, and how did you do that?
Originally, it wasn't even just for real estate. It's just that I realized this is it looks like, I think back then I read, like bankruptcy stays for 13 years or something else.
So you were hedging hedging your default. Worst case.
No, but no. What it really hit me is that, oh, hey, this is for life. I mean, this credit that's gonna stay with you. So you need to have a good one, right? So I figured, I need to build it up as much as I can. And, being a student, you don't have much income, but I realized, hey, I'm getting, let's say, this money from the sponsor to pay my tuition. Why can't I pay my tuition on a card and pay off the card? So I was looking for ways to basically pump up the credit without it costing me.
And your goals back then were just to have good credit, just because there's something for the future. But so you didn't have a goal like you're going to start a business and pay it off.
Well, for the business, right? Basically, I figured whatever business I decide to start, I'll have some way to actually capitalize right from the beginning. I wouldn't have to go like raise venture capital or anything like that.
Did you have any goals like I want to have X amount? Did you know it was unsecured as well?
Yeah, and that's a big deal, right? Yeah.
Okay, but did you have a goal like, okay, so you started off with 500. How did you ramp it up? And you have over $200,000 in unsecured credit right now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So obviously it took a long time. How long is this process so far? Well, you're 18 is when you really started, but when you started focusing on it.
When I started focusing on it, right, like by the time I was out of college, I had maybe 20 or 30,000 in between like 3 or 4 cards. And then the thing is, when I went to like after the whole stock market crash, and I just went back to grad school, right?
Right.
So there was a period of maybe 2 or 3 years, when my wife first got together. We were college students. I had no money whatsoever, and I was only allowed to work on campus for 20 hours, so that wasn't even enough to pay for anything. But because I had credit, I actually was able to live on a credit card for like almost 3 years. And I just shuffled, so like you use one card to pay off the other, and do that, and because I had good credit, and that didn't ding me in any way, and it actually allowed me to get through grad school, and then get a job and start paying off.
Well, that leads into a question that I was going to have. Have you been in trouble?
No.
So you haven't like struggled? No,
I think people get in trouble when they like stop managing it, or like they're not paying attention,
or you're watching it.
Oh, you have to like for one thing, to do this, you gotta have I had software. Like I had used Microsoft Money from the 90s, and then
like QuickBooks, Quicken.
I use QuickBooks for all the business stuff, and then Quicken for all of our personal stuff.
Well,
it all downloads. My wife and I, we have like every week we have like our financial meeting. We just kind of. It doesn't have to take a long time. It all downloads. I want to automate everything, but I want to watch it.
No, I didn't get Quicken until later in life, but I know that one time. And this is a confession. I was $30,000 in severe debt, like credit card debt, and I really didn't know what to do. And I think this has got to be 10 or 15 years ago, but it was like a black ball on my back, and I swear to, and I don't remember how many credit cards I had, but I was way over leveraged. I couldn't do anything, and I felt death. But I was determined to pay it off, and I did pay it off. And then I shut all those credit cards down, and I actually went down to one credit card. And I don't know if it was an addiction. It's like an epidemic in the United States per se, and I'm assuming in the world. They just give you free money, and you got $500 or $1,000. Hey, I'm going to go buy this couch, and then you sit on it for 3 months, and then you realize, at $20 a month, you're never going to pay it off. Okay, or then something else comes up. It's a vicious cycle. Type, and how mentally, so you just constantly focused on. This is business only. This is just to build future, because you didn't even have a goal of buying real estate at this time. You were just building this.
Like during that grad school, for 3 years. We got close to $50,000 in that, and that was consumer debt. That wasn't business. Okay, just because I didn't have any income.
Right, but you were living on those credit cards?
I was living on it.
So
right.
Okay, so you were $50,000 at one time, a tune, and I was $30K.
Yeah, and
I thought I was going to die.
That's actually when we started looking into real estate and business, and
figuring out a way to pay it off.
Right?
Okay, so you had this $50,000 debt per se of consumer debt, and you can't pinpoint what it was. It was from lunch to necessities.
I paid. You know what? One time, by the way, as a landlord, would you accept this? So one time, I calculated. Okay, my rent was like $680 a month. And I figured I don't make enough to actually pay the rent. But I had this offer for like 0% for 12 months. And I figured the minimum payment on that was going to be like 200 something. So I went to the office, to the apartment manager, and said, hey, can you give me 10% off if I pay for the whole year? They're like, yeah, sure. So I wrote them a check.
Oh, man, that's gangster.
Because, and that got me through a year. I did have,
you had to pay it back.
It's racking up interest, right? So, like, I remember, there was some, when I say I didn't get in trouble, I never got dinged on my credit for it. But yeah, there's like this big ball of kind of interest accumulating. So like at some point, you get a paycheck and almost all it goes to interest.
So that $50,000, did it ever weigh on you? You were in school and grad school.
Yeah. So like,
so you're bummed? That you're like, I'm trapped. I don't have a job. Or you only can work 20 hours on campus?
This is why I was building it up, so that if I ever get into a period of life where we need it,
Or you could just go back to Russia and say, F you, United States.
Yeah, but then,
well, your credit card.
That passes through your mind, and you realize, man, but then I can never come back,
Well, you had 2 social numbers. Did they have social numbers in Russia?
Yeah.
Oh, did you have one over there and then one over here when you were born?
The Social Security?
Yeah.
Well, I got one here when I was like 17 or something.
But I know, but over there, how are you documented over there?
Yeah, so it's not, there was no credit. Back then, there was no credit.
Okay, because it was a communist country?
Right.
Okay.
It was just, there's just, they just now, like right now, there's some credit. I don't know if anybody is tracking it or not.
It's called the mob.
Yeah, and it's like 15, 20. The banks pay on checking account. You can get 15, 17% right now.
Well, all right.
So
$50,000. if you can remember how you paid all that off, can you answer that? Because let's dive into this deal.
I just started doing a lot of side jobs
and just so you just determined to pay it off. No, were you ever upset? Were you ever upset with yourself? Like, damn it, I can't believe I did this.
Oh no, I mean, I did it on purpose. I mean, I knew.
No, I know, but like I mean.
It definitely weighed on me. Yeah, because,
I mean, this is a mental game.
It's a big thing, right?
I mean, not only that it's a spreadsheet game, what you're doing, which is totally not my gift, but then, I mean, I remember specifically. I swear that I would never get back in debt again. Consumer debt. Now, of course, I'm way in debt now, but with assets.
Oh yeah, like was that?
But I mean, when I had that $30,000 over me, man, it was like a crushing blow every day. That's all I thought about. And I kept yelling at myself I was a fool and stupid.
Yeah, because do you think, it's like, was that lunch 5 years ago?
Exactly.
I can't even. For it, right? Yeah.
I can't even remember. I know that I had probably a Walkman back then. I'm like, I had to have a Walkman or CDs or whatever. And it didn't bring me any money. Now, anytime I borrow money, it has to make me money, period.
Right.
I love borrowing money. I was at the bank yesterday. I have a bank meeting today. But it has to return an income to me. Right. If I buy, a T-shirt, I'm going to pay cash. All right, so let's just get into a deal. So as soon as you walked in, you were glowing. I'm like, why is this guy so excited? And it's not for the Savvy Radio Show. He's like, I just got my offer accepted. Let's talk about this offer or this deal and the numbers and how you're going to get it done. And we were talking about a little bit. I was like, you're going to do this all kind of credit card deal. I'm like, how are you going to pay labor? Right. So let's get into it.
That's actually like one of the big things about it. Like I look at, they all have different types of benefits, right? Like American Express doesn't give you checks usually, but like
and you have to pay it off at the end of the month. That's why I hate American Express.
Depends. Well, yeah, and I never ever want to pay interest on credit cards. That's my big thing. Like ever since that, like even back then, for 3 years, what I did is I would find an offer, hey, 0%,
and just kept rolling it over.
I would keep rolling it over, so you would pay like a small fee up front. So like right now, since last show, like as soon as I walked out from the last show, right, we got this offer that we've been working on. So we're getting this house for 64, right? It needs rehab.
What size is it?
It's about 1,700.
3 bed, 2 bath?
3 bed, 2 baths. Well, actually, what it was is the couple that lived there, and I think they lived there since the beginning. It's from 62, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So what they did is they knocked down one of the bedrooms to make a huge living room. Dumb. And they converted one of the closets in that bedroom into a bar. I mean, it was a disco bar with mirror tiles, like a whole built-in bar.
Oh, sorry about that. Let's keep going.
And so we're actually putting it back. Yeah, the bedroom. We already did actually. So and it's all pink. Green carpets, purple.
Well, okay, let's just for fun. How'd you hear about it?
Actually, my contractor, contacted me and said, hey, I just saw this. He has like a search on Zillow that kind of goes through, and then
your contractor.
Yeah.
He's in real estate too.
Yeah. He has some rentals. Yeah.
Okay.
And but basically he saw it, and then so he was just he has a buddy realtor that would let us in. So like and I actually for the first time I saw it through FaceTime. Like I'm on a parking lot, and he's like, hey, we're like here. You want to see it? I'm
cool. Like, yeah. So you got this contractor at the property.
Yeah. Walking around, and he's kind of
he's holding the phone up
right,
with FaceTime.
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
So like we're kind of walking around saying, okay, so this mainly needs cosmetics, and we're thinking.
And he's motivated because he's about to get the job.
He's about to get a job, yeah.
And you're motivated while you're sitting on your phone.
Right. Exactly. So
you
know,
amaze
and
me.
then I talked to this guy to get private money loan for it. Basically, I mean, we're planning to do a lease option on it or sell it. Depending. Yeah, I mean, it has enough kind of. So like basically, we're getting it for 64. It's taken about 15 to 18 to rehab.
What's the ARV?
And about 105.
So it's worth 105. You got it under contract for 64.
Mm-hmm.
And you think it's going to cost 15 to 20, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. Okay. It shouldn't cost more than 20.
Of course,
like right now. So how are we doing this? So we got the 65 in private money to close on the deal, right? So
you private money. Remember, folks, private money. So you just called someone up and they said, "Here, I'll give you $65,000 because they're loaning on 100."
We're doing. I always give two options of doing amortize over 5 years, or we're gonna do an interest only over 5 years. You know, everybody always speaks interest only.
Yeah,
but
because it's more profitable.
Right.
All right, gotcha.
Right. So I get 6% interest only loan.
6%. You are a master.
And so you know we closed on it in August, right? Late August. So and so it started rehab. And so for rehab, right? So I need to pay.
So in your mind, you got this offer for $65. You know you have private money lined up in the back of your mind, and then you know you have $200,000 of unsecured credit card debt. So
that
you know in your mind, I can do anything.
Able to handle, right? And
I mean, just logistically, you're like, okay, I got that funded because that's the number one hard problem. The second problem after you get it funded is I got to get this dang thing fixed and repaired, and I have to have the material.
Right.
And you have that already lined up in your mind.
Right.
Okay.
So basically, what one of my credit cards sent me an offer saying, "Hey, we have use this check, and it's for 18 months, 0% interest." I'm thinking if I can't unload it in 18 months, that's a.
So your goal was your exit strategy is to flip this.
Originally, I really wanted to do a lease option, so we'll do it for 4 years, so that way
Sell
we
it
get
on terms.
some income, right?
Okay.
I mean, we actually just talked to this lady that she actually got pre-approved for a bank loan, and I'm like, okay, so if that works, fine, yeah. I mean, it's a great deal too.
Well, you know how to teach her about credit,
right?
You can get it pre-approved,
yeah, right?
Anyway, keep going.
But basically, so let's say, so I needed 18 grand, right? So let's say for rehab, for materials, for
labor,
right? So
okay.
So I used the check for
from that credit card.
For that credit card. They took 2% fee to do it, right? So
okay, so would you write that check to yourself?
Right to my company name, right?
Cool.
You write it to company name, so now I have the cash, right? So they took 2% fee, right? So that's $360. But here's what we did. To actually buy the materials, I didn't use that cash.
Okay, hold on. So let's back up. So you wrote yourself an 18 grand check to your company to rehab specialist.
Right.
And it just funds? It just all of a sudden you have cash in there.
Yeah, you just cash. But here's the thing.
When does your first payment due? In 12 months? Or does it start paying?
No, started paying. I already made one payment. It's $325. The
Interest
mortgage.
only.
Interest only.
So
right.
it's the minimum on the. So when it says the minimum on the credit card statement.
Oh yeah. On a credit card, you can pay as little as 2% of it. So it's no more than $300.
Okay.
You have to pay,
so
right?
so the next month. So you got.
Yeah,
So
let's just
because let's just act like no one knows about this.
Right.
Because you're kind of savvy.
You could stretch it out. Right.
So no, let's just rewind.
Right.
So all right, I'm gonna write myself an $18,000 check. I know I'm gonna spend $2,000. So I wrote myself a check to my business. I got all of a sudden the next day or 2 days, I got 18 grand large in there, and it costs me $300 a month.
A month, right?
Okay.
So here's the thing. So it cost a fee of 2%, right? $360
for the one time.
For the one time.
Okay.
Now I didn't want to pay that fee, right? So what we did, we got the cash, right?
Okay.
It's actually some of it is still in the bank, but then my wife has a credit card that pays her 2% rewards, right? And then Home Depot, like through RIA, we have that 2% discount too. So, my contractor goes to Home Depot, he uses my account.
Right.
It charges to one of our cards that pays us 2% back. So that actually covers the rewards, cover the fees. So
okay.
So far we're not out.
So you're that meticulous. Even you get pinpointed down to the cost of the goods of doing
right
it.
Because I don't want to. Right. I don't.
You don't
want.
So you want no money in the deal, basically.
So far, no. Right.
Even $300.
Even $300.
So you've got it. I mean, I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just because people think I'm freaking psycho because I think like that. But on this deal, I'm getting a free 18 grand. It's costing me $300. It's no big deal.
But by actually buying the material on a different card,
right? You get that $300 back,
and you get it back. Right?
And you calculate that and you track that.
Right.
Well, that's just
you have to track
that's just the
because it's you skip one payment. They jack up your rates and it all goes away, right?
No. That's cool. Okay, keep going. So in your mind, you got the 18,000 in the bank. So then you're doing this extra step, which I wouldn't think of, but that's cool. You put it on another credit card, your wife's credit card, to save 2%.
Right.
This seems.
And then use also Home Depot discount.
Yeah, you get the card discounts when you use their cards,
discount,
which I don't have those, and that's another story. But keep going.
And then they also have it. You sign up with their program where as you spend, they accumulate. They keep track of how much you spend at Home Depot, and then they give you 5% off, 10% off, 15% off, depending on the more you use it, right?
Right.
So I definitely want to use that. Wherever we can.
So I need to start calling you up when I need to buy material. Every November, man, we need to let's talk about this real fast. In November, they use Black Friday, and I buy 4 pallets of flooring.
Right, because they have
And are you already getting 10% off of the sale price or a percentage off of the sale price?
I got the discount because my contractor had his discount. Yeah.
Yeah.
At Home
See, I
Depot,
get
right.
10% already at Lowe's, but
But
I buy.
Lowe's has a program too, right? I
Yeah.
just haven't signed up with them.
Okay,
Yet, yeah.
so let's back to the thing. So now you got $18,000 in the bank. What's your plan from here? How are you going to pay this guy material?
Well, that's so right. So I mean, we're already almost done with the rehab. We have a couple of weeks left. So you know, he ordered. You know, he got all the materials. You know, I'm still looking. Actually, right now, my wife is you know, like she's the ninja at different discounts and finding deals. So like she's looking for appliances. You know, we gotta get all the, you know, like the fridge, the vent hood, the oven, the dishwasher, the microwave and stuff. Right. So she's trying to find a package, kind of put it together, so that, and then, you know,
Use a credit card to buy it.
Definitely.
So you get the points,
right.
the rewards.
Points, rewards, whatever we can.
And in your world, it's basically free because you use another credit card to pay off that.
Right. And see, like
on.
in my mind, it's like you should have a business. Like, you know, like as soon as I found out this whole thing where like you spend more, they give you more credits and rewards. It's like I want to start selling stuff on eBay just because I can pump all the inventory through it and then get the rewards. Or like, you know, you use the business because, you know, like in person, right? If you buy like a couch, a TV or something, you know, that doesn't bring you any money whatsoever, right? So you get the rewards, but so what? Whereas like when you're using it for business, you know, that's something that makes you money, but you also have to spend a lot of it, right?
Yeah, that's what I do.
And you get to keep the rewards, but you're using it for something that also makes you money.
Well, I mean, I that's my business model. I mean, we're meticulous about charging all of our material.
Right.
So I mean, in my world, it just keeps accounting perfectly,
Right.
to the penny. But I get
Like
thousands of points.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's vacation money right there.
Well, you know, with Southwest, I don't know if you have a Southwest card or Chase card, but I use so much on my Chase card that my wife gets a companion on Southwest Airlines. So wherever I fly, my wife flies free. And so that's all the way to 2017. They just approved. I mean, they just awarded me. That means because we spend so much money rehabbing houses,
right,
that we get so many points, and we're on the A list. I mean, but I didn't do anything. It wasn't like some extra thing. It's not like as I make $100,000 a year or I'm some, you know, savvy.
Exactly, right.
No, just because I exercise a credit card to buy material and pay it off.
Right. Right. We don't ever want to carry, you know, like I never want to, you know, like obviously right now I have a balance, but, you know, it's a 0% balance. I never want to carry it like at 18 because,
okay,
you know, the first month wipes it out, right?
All right, let's finish out this deal. So, okay, what's the plan? Where we're at?
So we're a couple of weeks of finishing it, and we're starting to show it. And you know, like right now, we have a couple of people interested. On one of them, you know, they want to do like a family. They want to. So what we did was we put the bedroom back. The guys that had it before, they had kind of like cut off half of the garage and made like a storage area. So like we're making the garage back. You know, we'll put the ceramic floors in there everywhere, you know, all the new doors, painting, and, you know, everything fixed up. And then so we're going to do either a lease option for 4 years.
What's the numbers on that? And you're selling it for $115?
For 1.5 to 110.
Okay.
And on the lease option, maybe a little bit higher because it would be like a 4-year option. So like I would want like maybe 5 down and then 5 every year.
How are you? Are you marketing that like rent to own or
right?
Lease purchase or something?
Lease
well, people
purchase,
don't understand the word lease purchase, but okay.
I have to check up with all of the whole
Dodd-Frank stuff. To be careful
because there's a bunch of things like with the rent credits now that's different,
right?
And things like that.
And if you don't do the paperwork right, I mean that's another episode. But all right, so keep going.
But you know, what's good about this is you know, I mean, you have a few exit strategies. You know, if somebody just comes in and says, "Hey, I have 105," you know, I got approved for the bank, bam, we're done, right? You know, we pay off everybody, and we.
So your numbers would be 65 plus 18. You think you have 18 in it, or do you think you're going to go over budget?
About 18, yeah.
Let's just say 20 to keep.
So
you got
20,
85.
Right? So I got 85 in.
So you have a potential payday 20,000
minus, you know, whatever the different.
Now, are you working with a realtor at the sell part because you got to pay them at 6%?
Not at the sell, no.
Okay,
right,
good,
but
smart guy.
Because it's probably going to be between just parties, you know. We advertising it ourselves, and yeah.
Okay, so you advertise lease purchase or rent. Right. What kind of income do you want to do on the lease purchase? 5 down, and then what's the monthly payment?
It'll rent for about $900. Yeah.
So that sounds skinny to me. So
for 4 years? No, but think about
okay,
this. I have nothing in it.
I understand because
so
that's my favorite word.
My mortgage is $325, and I'll rent it for $950.
Because it's interest only, though. So you're going nowhere with the loan. Okay, let's just do it from my perspective.
Right.
I understand where you're coming from because you got this little.
So it's 5 down and then 5 every year. So
you got this
20.
No. Let's just run it down monthly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I understand the big picture.
Right.
because you got this big vision, but people change, people move out, economics change.
Right.
So I look at it over for the immediate for today. So you're saying that you're going to charge them only $900.
Right.
Okay. Your interest only payment is
$325,
which is incredible, and you lock that private money
5 years.
Okay, that's incredible. So that's
That's
very rare.
why I want to
though.
do the lease option no more than 4 years, because
No, I understand.
that
That's
gives me
savvy.
time, right.
No, dude, that's exactly correct. 'Cause then you have to. It's an automatic machine. I'm just thinking that's hard to get private money, 5-year lock, 6% interest only, unless they're very large people that have large money that don't trust you and don't care. I mean, because it's really not a profitability for them. $300. I got $60,000 invested in an investment. I'm only yielding $300 a month.
But think
That's
about
$1,800 a year.
stock market. They lose
I understand.
money or they're getting 1%.
I'm not trying to defunk
Yeah.
you. Okay, I'm just this is working for you, but I'm going to get tons of emails and text messages. That's too good to be true. That doesn't happen. So let's just break it down though in my world. And I'm not trying to be negative or rude. I'm just, don't get frustrated with me. My mind. So you got $900 a month income coming in. You got $325 going out. You got your taxes and insurance.
Well, if it's a lease option, they'll pay it.
Well, it's still the
Kinda.
number.
Yeah, it's still the number.
On top of the 900?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So again, you're savvy, but I never let the tenants or buyers ever do the escrow. I always pay it myself through me. I send them I send them a statement. I send them a statement. But I pay for the insurance because it has my name on it.
I have to be on the insurance, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
I pay for the insurance. Now I charge them exactly what I send them the invoice, and they have to prepay it, and the taxes as well, because I'm at a different size, and I don't have 5 units. I have several units. I can't maintain that. And I'm not going to leave the chance if this joker doesn't pay their taxes for 3 years and it goes to sheriff's sale,
right.
then all of a sudden I got to show up with $60,000 and I'm trying to buy an apartment building and I can't do it. So that's why I don't allow that to happen.
Right.
I don't know how many deals you do. And I'm not trying to take the air out of your sale. I'm just trying to help you. If you get 10 or 15 of these going and
that's a whole other.
you're not paying attention. So they're paying $1,100 technically. Okay, that's cool.
Right.
Let's just get the right numbers.
Right.
So they're paying $200 goes to taxes and insurance, just for kicks and giggles. Let's talk about what you're yielding. Your payment's only $325, which is awesome. So you have a potential of cash flowing $575 a month. Okay, then you got to pay this $18,000.
Right. So that's what's going to pay the $18,000.
Okay, so then
plus the down payment. Well, plus the option.
We got the $5,000.
Right.
What do you do with the $5,000 when you get it?
Well, for now, I'm just probably going to stick it in the account, but it's going to be.
But you're pocketing it.
It's going to be $5,000 a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just mathematically, let's just say you pay down that debt
Right.
of
Let's say you pay it
$18,000.
down, right.
So now you're down to $13,000.
Right.
Okay,
So that's about another maybe $200 a month.
so then a calculator, you got a good mind. So
it's $200 a month.
200 months
Right.
to pay that.
To kind of keep paying it, right?
Okay, so you have a potential to cash flow, but you're doing this real estate transaction for the future, right? Not
Right.
like, because I do real estate transactions for today. So I buy rental property so I can cash flow today.
Right.
You are cash flowing, but you're pushing that debt down the line.
Right. This is an experiment because normally, in fact, right now, the more I'm looking, it's like I kind of want to keep it too, because
Well, you should keep all real estate.
You always want to keep it,
Like,
right? Especially, this one's next to a golf course, and
Yeah. I mean, that's cool, man.
it's a
I
good
mean,
area,
I didn't mean for the show to get to this. Like, I'm coaching you in the middle of this deal, but like, my mentor just smashed me the other day. I was going to flip a property, and he's like, "Why are you going to flip that? You took all this work, and it's an asset." And can you? He's like, the question that he asked me. He's like, "Can you refi it?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I got this really good bank right now." So I just decided to keep it. Now my cash flow, if I would have flipped it, I would have made $15,000. I would have been happy, and my goal was to pay off my little pool. So I was like, "That's cool," but then I could hold it. I have a built-in $30,000 worth of equity in this property that I'm probably never going to touch. But let's just say it's $33,000. I know it's the same numbers that you have. It's 100 something. So I decided just to refinance it, pull it up. Now my cash flow is extremely low. It's a big loan. It's an $80,000 loan, and I got like 80 something in it. But I'm only cash flowing 100 and something.
Right.
But I have no money in the deal either, though.
Right.
But you're not even using bank funding. That's another thing that I was going to ask you about, and that'll lead that into the question. So I'm not trying to put pins into your deal. I think you acquired this asset with no money. You're savvy with the situation. I'm just trying to understand it, and my goal is so we can help other people do it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so but the numbers work. What's your return on this overall? So it would have to be at least you have a 5-year lock.
Mm-hmm.
So your term of this real estate transaction is 5 years in your mind.
Well,
you're going to lease option
5,
for
right,
4 because like here's the thing. What if they
it's
don't
gonna take time, right?
Right. What if they don't cash out? Because I have these
Right.
deals right now where I smash them. I'm like, dude, your option is up December 31st. What are you going to do? Well, we don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to renew the lease option because this is a 3,000 square foot crib,
right?
And they have probably 3 truckloads full of crap in there. I can't just get them out quickly.
That's what I kind of like. That I could still keep it as a rent. I can refi.
Well, that's the great thing
yeah.
about it. You're so low in the game, you can easily cash that guy out. The 65, he's made his money for 5 years or 4 years. I think you have great options, but where this started, please forgive me. I'm not trying to badge your goal and your dream, but I mean, like, there's way. Yeah, if your goal at the end of 3 years or 4 years is to refinance that thing, by then you'll be in a better position and you'll just kill it then. Because then you can pull all that equity back out, 70%. You could probably pull out $80,000, walk away with a $20,000 or $15,000 cash check to go buy another property,
right?
And
that's
keep and that's an asset generating income. The great thing is the rule of thumb as on tenant buyers, okay, that I'm aware of. Now it's changing. Is roughly 50 to 60% that they're going to sustain. Most people can't. Like, I know this for all the ones I've done, they can't close on the option, which is great for me. I'm like,
just renew or find
or I'm sorry, we're going to have to figure it out. But I think it's definitely in your advantage, folks. If you're out there listening to this, Max is in control of the situation. He can control the asset. He has paper on the asset. He has no money in the deal. He has an option he could sell the note. He could refinance at any time. Or the tenant buyer can just buy the place, and you still created all the equity, because technically, and this is where this tangent got in. You have 85 in it, regardless if you get that in 5 years or 4 years. You're going to have a payday of $20,000 somewhere.
Right.
Right now, you're hopefully collecting interest from the tenant buyer.
Basically, well, so what's going? Right now we're still rehabbing it, but
but when you get this person,
right? So basically, right. So because let's say if we just go ahead and just sell it straight up, sell it next week, right?
Right.
So we got that 15-20 grand profit. That's great, but then you got to keep working to keep doing it, right?
Well, yeah, that's my philosophy.
Right.
Don't
so
flip property.
There isn't and I'm doing normally we just do rentals, but so this is kind of my first experiment in this whole flipping. Right. So it's more like I want to see how this one works, because. So we could also get that 20 grand in profit later, but also along the way for 4 years get the cash flow. So it's slightly more profit, and it's stretched out. But then at the end of 4 years, also I'm kind of also almost going to be sad to let it go, because it's like by that time there's always equity in it, and Yeah,
it's a win-win. It's a long-term vision,
right?
And you obviously have delayed gratification if you're manipulating all these credit cards, and you have a system, because I don't have that type of patience. So, economically, we're the same. Okay, we're equal. You're creating it out of nothing, out of thin air. You're not using any banks. You're not using any of your own money. You actually own $100,000 asset.
It was great is that card is not even on my report. It's on the business name.
Okay, cool. We'll get into that. So, I didn't mean for it to go to that, but I just wanted to make sure, because the way I purchase property is like, what do I have in it? What's my cash flow today, tomorrow, a year from now? Great. In 4 years, I don't know what, the Fed keeps going up. Interest rate might go to 8%. That's going to affect my game, but every deal that I do today is about today. All right. So that was kind of a weird one. Sorry. I didn't mean to throw you a monkey wrench. Have you done this before with credit? Like you have like 5 units right now, right? Somewhere around there?
18.
Oh, that tells you I need to listen to episode 16. Anyway, so you have 18. Now, have you done this before? You've acquired assets with credit card down payment.
On our first deal, we had basically what we did is we used an owner financing. We bought 11 units all at once, and so we used an owner financing for 90% of it, and then we needed to come up with 50 for down payment, and we used like 36 on a credit card, and then the rest was cash. And then
That's awesome.
over the first couple of years, we just paid off that 36.
And I think that's the message for today. It's like, look, you can get an asset, and you could use a credit card to use it as a down by writing yourself a check to your LLC and cashing that out. Now, all of your money has been through private lending?
No, we have banks too.
Okay,
We have
great.
commercial loans. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good question. And I'm meeting a banker today, so I'm going to ask this dude today. But do the banks ask about your credit cards? Do they know?
Definitely.
They ask that, they look at your thing. They look at your report. Well, they see the 858 and they get all nutty. They get a hard on. They're like, "Oh my god, this guy's got 858. Who has an 858?" I mean, I don't know anyone with an 858. Okay, 858 credit score. I mean, I look at probably 10 credit scores a day here in this building. I pull everyone's credit, everyone. I thought I was prideful. I have a 750. An 858 is remarkable. So, but what does a bank think when they see 19 credit cards on your deal?
What I found.
I mean, what do you say? Well, I use that for down money. They're going to freaking shoot you. There's no way you're telling a banker that you're using a credit card for down money.
Well, not when I'm working with a bank.
No, I understand that. But there's going to ask you, what are you doing with 19 credit cards? Does that not come up in a conversation?
Oh, it does. But basically, I do the whole, when I first started, I did that whole, the cash flow statement, from the game. I just did a spreadsheet that looks just
It's called
like
a financial statement?
Yeah.
Let's just get the terminology together.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, you're killing me.
So actually, and then, from a bank like from RCB, they actually had like a whole template. So I've now been using it, and I, religiously update it, right?
In an Excel, in Excel, or on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I just build an Excel spreadsheet out of it. And,
okay.
I just keep track of, as the
I'll share you.
going.
I'll share you mine if you share me yours. I have that.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, let's get to the question.
I mean,
hi, I'm the banker.
They pull the credit, right?
Okay, you're Max from Russia. And you seem like a savvy, intellectual guy, but you got 19 credit cards, sir. How are you going to pay back this loan?
But they're not max. They're all zero balances. Right?
Okay,
right.
But it still scares them. It's unsecured debt.
Because they can always say, we're gonna treat it as if you go tomorrow and max it out. Because I can, right? I mean,
that's my rule of thumb. I mean, I don't know how much money I've borrowed in my lifetime, but still, I know that's a concern.
Right. Well, but they look at the ratios because I'm also borrowing. Like when we're buying an asset, right? We're not. They know that there's equity in it, right? They look at it, we have close to, I think on a business, a little over $700,000.
Yeah, but when you borrow from a bank to get a commercial loan, they're looking at you as a character issue, and they're looking at your credit score, which is, I wonder if.
But they also do it the business. I really kept it
separate.
I really do keep it. I use personal cards, but some of those 19 are business cards, right? So they're not in my name. Technically, even though
but you don't show that on your financial.
They don't show up.
Okay, smart. Right. That's okay.
Well, I mean, they show up on a company
on your other financial because you got more than one. Right. I have the same thing.
So basically, they they look at it, and when you go for a commercial loan, right? I mean, they still look more. Well, will the asset perform?
Right, or will you perform?
Will you perform? So right. Up until maybe a couple $1 million, you got to do personal guarantee anyway, right? Once you go past that, they usually just look.
Well, they'll always will ask for personal guarantee. But here's the point, though. I think it really, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they just see the 858, and they just say, okay. Would you agree with that? I mean, they just say
that plus,
they pull your.
I mean, I bring, like a, I have like a booklet. With everything prepared, because
like a booklet of all your loans
of all the stuff, everything that the bank will have ever asked us, ever since was closing our own mortgage back in the days, I mean, I don't wait for them to ask me, okay, we need this, and this. I mean, first time I walk in, I mean, I have everything prepared, a whole booklet that shows all the financials, all the documents, all the documentation, paychecks. Financial statements for the company and everything, so it looks, I know.
And that's the thing, folks out there, savvy investors. Don't have them ask you for taxes. Have your taxes ready.
Right.
Don't have them ask for your financial statement, and it's not updated. They're going to ask you for your rent rolls. So if you don't know about what to prepare for, I'm writing a book called Savvy Money. It's coming out in a couple months, but we cover that. But that's an ingenious, and I think the banker automatically just assumes that you're successful because you are prepared with successful financials.
Was what you need, right?
And that's what turns them on. The 858 turns them on, but I think you being prepared.
And every year, I send all of my financials to the bank, like updated ones. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to ask that banker today. I'm curious to see, does it matter? Because, like, if you listen to my red book, the Savvy Landlord, the original, I interview the president of a bank. And in that interview, I asked him about credit card debt. And he was anti it. Now, I mean, I don't know why he was. I think because everyone thinks that credit card debt is taboo. It is unsecured. You can go charge at any time. But it's the same thing of lines of credit, where a lot of real estate successful investors that get to a certain point where they have lines of credit everywhere, and they get nervous about that as well.
That's actually my goal. In fact, I just got an offer to open a line of credit.
You should do it.
Because that's really, once you have like couple hundred grand line of credit, you can go and flip house anytime you want to without having to
and let's just cover that real quick, because I've just got to that point in my career. It took me a long time. But I bought this asset with a line of credit. I fixed it up with the line of credit. A month later, I applied for refinance. It's very easy to refinance. It's harder to acquire money. That's why private money is so attractive. But, banks, they get all nervous, like, well, why are you buying this asset? What are you doing? The bank called me up. Wow, this is the question that he asked me. So you just bought this property, why you're just getting your cash out? And I said, yeah, I'm just getting my money back. But the interesting thing is, he assumed that it was my own personal cash. It really wasn't my own personal cash. It was actually a line of credit. Now, I just refinanced that property, and I'm going to pay back that line of credit. So I have a free asset that's making me X amount of money. Yes, that is the ultimate goal, and get that line of credit as soon as possible. I just threw that out there because through the years, I've heard negativity over the credit card.
And I think it is, it is still a relationship business. The banker, I mean, they pull that history, right? I mean, they're going to know if
you're faithful.
You go and you actually, you go and start charging everything, right? I mean, they see my history, so they know I'm not going to go and just go nuts and start charging. And if I am going to charge it, I'm going to probably charge it by buying a bunch of properties, not TVs.
Well, I just, personally, and I'm writing this book. Personally, and I'm writing this book right now. I would never tell a banker that I use a credit card to use it down money. I don't know. I just think that they would be pissed off. I mean, I don't know. Most bankers in my world are like, they don't like the word no money down. They don't like, they say skin in the game. It's just dumb. But like, some bankers understand that it's an asset and they get it. But me personally, I don't know if I would say, I wouldn't tell a banker anything unless they asked me. I would give the volunteer of information that I know they're going to need, credit report and all that other, well, not credit report, but a financial statement, so on and so forth. But how I come up with the down money has nothing to do with, unless they specifically ask me. But that's just my advice. So, all right, enough of that, because it's already 40 minutes. So, I mean, you're killing it. This is like a 5-hour program. Let's get into how you got to an 858. How'd you get into that? How in the world did you get a credit? I don't even know if that. I mean, it's like God. I mean, like.
Actually, I think you drop a little. It used to be a little bit higher.
I think you're the rarest person in the world.
Well, my wife has a higher one. We compete. Really? We compete.
So, you guys are cute, ninja.
But well, no. I mean, it started out like that. I just. I find out what do the banks need, right? They want to see you spending money and you paying back, right? Yeah. So I found
you'll be great on a line of credit.
Way to do it, right?
That's the whole concept of a line of credit. Banks are going to fall in love with you. You charge a house. I mean, buy a house and pay it off.
Right. It's one of those. I forgot who said that, but it's like if you owe a bank $5,000, you're in trouble. If you owe a bank $5 million, they're in trouble. So it's almost like the banks want you to prove that you don't need the money, so then they'll give you all the money you need, right? I mean, or you want.
Well said.
Because I find out what the FICO score rules are, and then
okay, what are those?
Like they change all the time, but you kind of can keep track of don't apply for credit cards within 6 months, right? Like if you just got one, wait, so that's why I have that schedule, right? Do it once a year because I want to get the reward. So like once a year I'll apply, we'll pay out our insurance bill, get the rewards, and then within a few months.
So
close
you have
the
that
card,
down to a science. Every
close the
6
card,
months.
Right. Each of us can apply. Right. So that's how we do every 6 months. I'll do one, and then my wife does one, and then we just kind of rotate around.
So that's my question was, do you because I heard that was wrong, because it's like, I know my Citibank card that I got when I was 18, it still shows up on my credit card, on my credit report.
It does, but it shows up as a closed, right? Or I mean, if it's open, right? You know how like they say
it's not open, it's closed in my world.
It calculates how long you've had credit history, right?
Yeah,
they know,
and I heard that was wrong too.
That's a myth too, that people think, keep your oldest card. That's your worst card, because that was the lowest balance. Unless you really developed it, right? Into something.
Well, I can't remember. I actually went to credit counseling. I had CCC, Consumer Credit Counseling, and they negotiated. I was so far in debt, that $30,000 in debt, I couldn't pay my payments, and I was so distraught that I went to CCC Credit Counselor, whatever, and they negotiated all my. Basically, they shut all my accounts down, and which I learned later that was the stupidest thing I've ever done, because that actually hurt me more than just.
It's almost like a short sale kind of thing.
Yeah,
it just shows up for a few years afterwards.
No, that was a long time ago. That's got to be like 15 years ago. I can't remember now. But the thing is, I always thought it was bad to close a credit card down.
They don't mind. I mean, it
just shows up. So
it just depends on the card too. No, I mean, it still shows up on your report that you had it, right? And
so was your credit report like 40 pages?
Maybe 20 or so. Yeah.
And it just lists all these credit cards on there.
Yeah.
And a banker doesn't get overwhelmed.
No, because they know what it means. I mean, they see which ones are closed, which ones are still open, which ones are active, which ones have been, history of payments, which ones don't.
Well, they're all green. I'm assuming you can't have an 858.
Oh yeah, I mean you can't.
It's impossible.
You have to have to do that. You got to keep it at least in some kind of software and keep track of all the reminders.
I
and
love
everything,
that you have this, and you're not getting static from a bank.
No, I mean we get offers like every
I
day
understand.
Just because they like it, yeah. Because
but I'm talking about a local bank that you're going into a real estate or a community bank in the state of Oklahoma, and you're sitting down. Hey, I got 15, 18 units, and I want to buy a property. They're like, okay, great. Where's your financial statement? You hand them your financial statement, and then they pull your credit, and they're like, holy shit, you have 19 credit cards.
Well, they can see that I can actually go and buy it with a card, but I'm not doing that. I'm going through them, getting the.
But you haven't gotten any static back. They haven't said, Max.
I've never been disapproved for a loan, but I haven't really applied for.
No, I'm just curious. I'm not trying to beat you up. I'm just.
Well, but you sit down and talk to the banker, explain this is what we do,
and you've done that. You've had to do that. So what do they say? Is what I'm saying. Like, well,
I mean, they don't mind. I mean, they still run their ratios, right? So they still look at the assets versus the debt potential, the income and everything, right?
Yeah, I know that there's certain bankers that just do that, but then there's certain bankers that I use right now. They're character bankers, where they're like, they come to the office. I've had bankers that have driven with me to several properties when they're doing their credit memo.
Right.
So,
and you can tell that from
if you went to Chase Bank,
Chase probably,
I think would be easy for you, because they're just going to pull.
It's actually going to be harder for the Chase, because they might pull it up and say, hey,
A5A, yeah.
Well, but they also look at the whole potential balance. Have a couple of cars that don't even have a limit. I could, it's.
Yeah, those are scary. I get excited when I think of that.
No,
the world's unstoppable.
Chase might, they have their boxes to fill in, right? And they might pull it up and calculate and say, whoa, that ratio is way out of whack, because we don't know you. You're just a number, and for all we know is tomorrow you're going to go and buy all of this stuff, and this is all going to be maxed out. Whereas with a local bank, they pull my credit and they look at the history for, the last many, many years. I mean, they see how I use it. They see that I don't just have balances at 18%.
So it's just not going to be easy. You're going to have to explain it.
You still, it's still.
So
a
when you get to this
business,
point,
right? Yeah.
Well, ultimately, and you want, and honestly, you want that. I mean,
at some point they want to know what you do.
And I think you should. If you should get anything from this episode, you should have a relationship, because I've been in deals.
To lunch,
I've had deals where the relationship trumped the situation where I had to close a deal and I was over my limit. They had to do a policy exception, and I believe it was based on a relationship. It wasn't based on because I have a 700 credit score. It was based on...
well, just to close the deal, right? We had one that, from offer to close took less than 3 weeks. And, I just called the banker, and I think they, did it all over the phone because they already have all of my stuff, right? I just send them an update.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And on the closing day, I just stopped by the bank. They gave me the check, and I went to the title company, right? And because they already know, and I mean they know that they don't have to jump through
the
hoops
relationship.
and get a lot of them because every year I send them an updated everything, just so they have it.
Me too, and I do it before they ask me. That's another tip.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I try to get my taxes done before everybody else within
and then
reason,
send it over, yeah.
and then I make sure it's legit. Anyway, so let's go over what's some tips on getting to the high credit score.
Find out what the bank is looking for.
Which bank? Like the credit card bank?
I mean, the credit card, yeah, like or whatever. Because I actually read that in some real estate book back in the days. Like how to start establishing your credit. Right? Go to a couple. Go to one. Convince one bank to open like a
$5,000
a secured. Like they say, hey, I have the savings. Use that as a collateral. Open me a line of credit and use that for whatever that you need. Right?
And then pay it back.
And pay it back. Right? It costs you a little bit of interest. But now you have history. Now you can go to the second bank and say, hey, they now have it on the credit that, hey, some bank trusts you. They can give you maybe an unsecured $5,000, right? Line, then you start building it up. You need to build a carport or something at one of your properties.
Right.
Spend $1,000 doing that, or maybe more than that. But
Sure.
but you can charge extra $20. So now the value of your asset went up, so it's a good loan to have, right? But I mean, you have to use the credit to get it. It's actually worse to not have credit than to have some credit, right?
So true.
Because that's just gonna look like, whoa.
Okay, what things have you found out in your own dealings, like something that you wouldn't do again?
Something that I definitely would really never try to get into a situation where you have to pay that 18 or 20%.
Right. So
because the reason I have a few cards is that if I ever had to transfer over, I have that option. At least for it takes them. Well, I know by now it takes them 2 or 3 years to catch on that you actually, might not have the income, right?
Right. Okay. So here's another one. What's the most you've ever charged at one time?
The most, 36 for that house. Yeah.
36,000. That was on the house before.
That was in our first deal. Yeah.
Your very first,
Just
and
for
you
the-
just wrote. And
We just wrote the check.
It was one check. Now, was that out of that one that's an unlimited card?
No, this was just a city card. Yeah.
Just okay. All right. Couple of quick fire questions. What is your favorite credit card company that you use now, or you like, or the best terms, or do you have several?
I kind of go back and forth, right? I mean, I definitely like. Lately, Citi has been pretty good. They now have the
Citibank?
2%.
2%.
Right,
Okay.
because you get 1% when you charge and 1% when you pay back. In the rewards, right?
Oh, and the
then
rewards.
on the
Okay,
rewards,
so you look at the
I
card
look
for the
at
rewards.
For the rewards. I don't know. I don't think we have a single card that doesn't have some rewards. Because what's the point? There's so many cards that have them. Why wouldn't you get
Right.
one that does?
Okay, so you like Citibank right now?
I
Citi
like
card.
Chase for the ease. Because you can link all of your cards. You can combine all the points between them. And
That's what I have.
American Express business cards are awesome for like the startup rewards. They have their gold card gives you $500
Right.
to open a card, and then their platinum is like $1,000. So
Free money.
yeah, but basically you open a card, you spend $5,000, you get $500 in rewards.
Okay.
Those are the ones we have scheduled. But when I know I have a bill, like an insurance, like we have
That's
like
crazy.
maybe, $10,000 in insurance. So I know I need to have a card. Because it's basically one of the houses is free. It pays for one of them, right?
Okay. So then, how about? Okay, this all sounds great and glamorous. You got a card with zero interest on it to pay off a card, so you don't have to pay interest on it.
Mhm.
Correct? Is that how it kind of goes? You're kind of moving them around.
Well, that's what we did when we had to live. I mean, right now I just use them pretty much strictly for business. So like we charge everything to the card just to get the
Yes.
rewards. But we never ever carry a balance for like any consumer stuff.
Oh yeah, me too. I agree.
Yeah.
What about the yearly fees? Do you negotiate those? I mean, those are pretty extensive
I don't
of 19 cards.
Okay, so no, none of them have fees. Well, okay, some of them have fees. Those are the ones that I cancel before.
They're due.
Usually they give you like a year before a fee. I have this one card with Chase that they have a yearly fee, but like every year I call them and say, well, I kind of want to close the card because honestly I just don't want to pay the fee. And they say, well, how about we give you a fee back? I'm like, that sounds good. I'll keep it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That was actually one of my questions
you
for
can
you.
always negotiate stuff. I mean, you can always ask for. I mean, I remember I had this one Discover card. It took me 3 years to close it because I really didn't want it. But like every time,
And that's like the hardest and the worst. I heard.
the thing is, it's like every time I call, they're like, "Well, how about we give you like this $50?" I'm like, "Okay, fine." And then like in 6 months, I call,
Free money.
well, what about we'll give you something else? I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'll keep." I just wanted to get it off the balance sheet.
Yeah,
but
sure.
But it's like, well, okay, it's free money. I'll keep it.
Okay, how are when you get a credit card now? I mean, obviously they give you a pretty large limit because you've already established. How do you? What advice would you give someone to increase a credit card? And this is just a true story that just happened to me. I have a $30,000 credit card. No, I have a $10,000 credit card, and I wanted to increase it. So I called them up, and I have a good credit score, and I asked for too much, too fast. I said, she's like, well, how much do you want? I said $5,000 because I was just arrogant and dumb. And I know I had a 750 credit score at that time, and it was a $10,000 credit card on Chase, and I had nothing on that credit card. It was blank.
And that could ding you if they deny it the first time too. Like it'll dip. Like if
I know my credit score. My credit score dipped
like by maybe like 8 or 10 points.
Bro, it dipped because I'm watching it now, just kind of casually, and I was kind of pissed, And I thought to myself, I asked for a 50% increase. Obviously, I would deny you. So, I mean, is there a way to increase your credit card, and how often can you ask?
I would ask them what's their rule is before asking. Call them up and say, so
what's the maximum?
What do I have? What do I have to do to increase? And in what increments do you increase? What do I have? Like, do I need to spend more? Do I need to have a certain score, or how often? A lot of them have like.
How do you find that information? Just ask them.
Call them and ask them.
Because when I call them, I get one rep that transfers me to the credit card rep, and I guess the credit card rep or the credit increase rep or whoever.
Right.
They're the ones I need to talk to.
Right. Yeah.
And so I just asked,
they have an algorithm. Like some of them will say don't do it more than every 6 months. Some have every year.
Well, what's your rule of thumb? Do you have one?
Almost all of them. By now, I almost never even ask them, because usually we just open a new card.
So you don't even try to increase the original card. You just close that deal down.
A lot of them used to do that automatically, but that hasn't happened in like 5-7 years now. Like ever since the whole financial meltdown, they used to do it automatically. They'll like say, "Hey, good news."
Yes, I remember that.
But like they almost
you're doing such a good job. We're going to give you another.
Right? Yeah.
I think there's some law that says that you can't do that because it's predatory. You're trying to get them to get more.
I mean, I know that they're all hoping that I'll just go and charge it. Right?
Well, that's what their business model.
Right? Yeah, I'm like their worst client, right? Because
because you pay it off.
Well, on some cards, we're pretty good because since we use it for everything, they get the transaction fees. So they okay.
Right. Well, the merchant, because I collect rents.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Or any other tricks that you are aware of that you do know of?
Look for I follow a couple of blogs. Like I think one's called Consumerism Commentary. There's a few blogs out there that keep track of this kind of stuff. So
cool.
I'll just I'll go and read them, and because they did the research, they'll say, hey, this is the best travel card, and right now they have this super deal where you get free tickets to Asia or something, right? Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Now we're out of time. Okay, so we're gonna have you back on the Shizo about credit business unsecured. Like I have a friend of mine, and I've been to a lot of seminars, and you can open up a Home Depot credit card with your EIN number from your business. Have you done that?
I haven't done the Home Depot one.
But you have an unsecured. And not in your name, in your business name credit card.
Oh, I have a few of those. Yeah.
What's your limit? What do you know what that number is?
Those ones that was out the limit are the business ones. And then usually it's about 20 to 30 grand that they give you. Yeah.
Wow.
Depending on that.
And that's free money. And if you dissolve that LLC per se,
yeah,
the debt would be dissolved with it. No, guys out there, shady people.
That,
but believe me, they'll track you down. Your EIN number or your business identification number is attached to your social.
The thing is, right, when it doesn't show up on your credit, but when you apply, they do ask your social because they still kind of check.
Yeah, see if you're worthy or not. All right. So, Max, this has been a wonderful show. I knew it. I said 30 minutes and it went to an hour. I love it. I love hanging out with you, man.
Stuff,
yeah. I love your passion for real estate and for credit and managing your credit. Is there anything else that you want to say?
I would say for everybody to start working on it, because
Yeah.
the thing is, the worst time you want to start looking at credit is when like you got a deal in the contract, right? I mean, then you're under pressure. You need to have the money, but like build it up.
You know,
because
that's-
then you walk in and you have it.
I don't want to say this name, but I have a friend and that had that problem. He's successful in real estate. He did a lot of private money and a lot of flipping of houses, and he has no credit. And I've been trying to help him build credit with a bank, and he had no credit card. But here's the cool thing that this awesome cat did, because he had that problem. He went to go get a loan because he was trying to be debt free, and I was like, bro, to grow this business, you got to get loans. It's just
Leverage,
impossible. I mean, I know this. I've done the Dave Ramsey, but he found a way where you can, on a USAA credit card, it's a government bank. You got to be in the military. Well, his mom was in the military, and he got attached to their credit card, and he used that to help his own credit score. So do you understand what I'm saying? So,
Right.
so they merged together. Like your wife's credit score obviously is probably helping you in some form or fashion.
does,
if
right,
you
yeah.
if you do joint plan.
Right.
Okay. So this is what he did. He had no credit. He had zero. He had some assets, but they were all kind of owner finance / private money. So they don't register anywhere.
Yeah,
they don't give you
they don't
any
show up,
credit,
but yeah.
which is a great thing, instruments to use to acquire real estate, but they didn't do a good thing for him to build credit. So he called me up. He was like, bro, I can't do it. I'm never going to borrow. And I'm like, dude, you got to learn now. Start now. Like, that's your advice. And so this guy's super savvy. He figured it out, found out his mom had like a $30,000 credit card that was pristine through the military USAA credit union, whatever that thing is. She added him and his social number to her card.
And that
And then all of a sudden, this guy's got like a 700 credit score. Just like that,
one of the
within a
best
couple
things
months.
you can do for your kids too.
Yeah.
Whenever it's possible for them, once they turn 18, you can start getting credit. Attach them to your card. Don't give them the card. Don't
Yeah.
spend and don't spend anything.
But just start putting their social number on
basically
there.
start by the time they
20.
in college and 20 like through college they have history. And
Charge it, pay it off for them.
Pay it off. Right.
So go buy
don't go nuts.
groceries.
Don't ruin your credit.
No,
credit,
no,
right?
yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
like,
But it's like basically, they
just
can
slowly
have
build.
credit,
So
right?
okay, that's a good idea. So that's a good tip. So say you're older and you have an 18-year-old going to college. You preach this whole time. Do not go in debt. Do not go in debt. You go open up a credit card on their social number. You get that credit card delivered to your house,
And don't give it to them.
and you put it in your wallet,
Yeah.
and you go out and buy a few groceries, a couple $100s a month, and you pay it off.
and
Man, they
that
will
will
have it
help them a lot.
850. That's
by the time they
what a great tip, Max. Put your hands
another one
together.
for the kids.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so whatever is the earliest legal time that they can start working, like doing grass or babysitting or something like that, right?
Right.
Like the whole IRA thing, you can only put in earned income in there, right? So you can't just like open one up for them and just stick some money in it, right? But when they start doing odd jobs here and there, 12, 14,
Yeah.
you open an IRA on their account, whatever they make, match that, put that in that IRA, right? So that it's there. If you do this, like if you put like 3,000 to 4,000 from the time they're 15 to the time they're like 20, 21, so that's what 5, 6, 8, maybe 15, 20 grand, right?
Right.
That's it. Then you stop it, and then at some decent rate of return, like 5-6%, pretty conservative, right? By
Right.
the time they're 65, they'll have more money than if you start in your 30s and you max out.
Mm-hmm.
So you bust your hump and you put in like 17 grand a year for like from 30s to all the way to 65, and that kid will still have more money.
Well, so funny. Someone that's in real estate preaching for an IRA. This is just. I would have thought you were going to say start borrowing against that.
No,
using
I'm just saying
self-directed.
just to set
Just
up
leave
your
it
kids
alone
for
as a
retirement,
savings
right.
account. Yeah, just put it in a.
Just the compounding interest because they have extra 20 years.
Yeah.
They don't have.
Yeah,
to
and
worry
I'll
about
never
it,
touch it.
Yeah.
And put it in a Vanguard 500 Index
Yeah, some
500
index fund and
computer
never touch it,
driven thing. No human being.
And you won't miss 3 or 4 grand a year versus for them spending,
Yeah.
a big chunk
and
every year.
you only have to do it. What would you say? 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, you just set it and forget it and
Yeah,
move on.
they have 50 years to compound.
Yeah, I'm still probably not going to do that because I love real estate and every dollar I have
It
goes
goes
into
into it,
real
right.
estate.
Oh, yeah, you
I
just-
mean, me personally, but I do get
it's
double
more like a
digits.
hedge, right,
I
yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
get double, but I would do it if they had a job. I'll force them to do it.
We'll
$200
do it
a month.
inside of there.
Yeah, $200-300 a month. Right, but man, I have dabbled in that. The returns that I'm getting out here in the trenches are double digit. That in some sex scandal of some CEO of some hedge fund,
that's going to destroy.
I'm just not into it. Now, Vanguard Index 500, do it. And if
well, and for all $3 million might only buy a cup of coffee. But the idea is it's just a comparison, versus
no, I
how
agree.
much effort it takes.
Well, it's easy, and I wish I would have known that too when I was a young child. I would have, I actually have a Vanguard right now, and I just use that, and that's just the trick that I'm going to talk about in my book, though, is just to show banks because banks think that way, that I have this Roth IRA that does nothing. But in the banker's world, wow, he's diversified.
Right.
He has an asset. But it's just a dumb amount of money that I'm not getting a return. I'm doubling that, tripling that return in real estate. So it's just fascinating.
Well, I actually use that as basically to convince private money. Basically, I showed them, here's my IRA statement. I was borrowing a little bit less than in there, and I'm saying, hey, I know it's going to hurt me to pull this out if I have to pay you off, but I have the money to pay you off.
That's a good. Well, how about this? Well, this is what my IRA is producing, but this is what I'm producing in real estate. Right. That's why I'm in real estate, and he would understand that.
Right.
But the greatest thing you could do is
you can't just go and spend it too, because
right, and it's secured.
Pull it out,
and it's secured by the asset, and that's a private money class. So we're going to do one of those again. But the thing is, you can turn that IRA into a self-directed IRA and loan it out. That's the great thing about putting the money in there. You can eventually use it for what you're trying to do anyway. Right. And I can loan you money.
That's right.
Because we're kind of casual friends. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the Savvy Radio Show. It's been a pleasure to be with Max Bosonov. Did I say it?
That's
All right, man.
Yeah.
So
it's always great to talk to you.
Yeah, man. It's just been. We got to get you back on, and I'm excited
we
about your deal.
Talk,
I mean, I could
fun,
just. Yeah. Well, anyway, if you guys benefited from this, great. Let us know. You got to listen to Max's episode 16. Check it out. This guy has an incredible story of success, and in his little world, he's just beginning. In my world, when I look at him, this guy is incredible. He should have his own show. Man, it's been great. So the number one thing you need to do out there, savvy investors, is go buy assets. Maybe you're going to get a new credit card. Who knows? But now, if you have any questions, contact Max. Do you want to give out your email?
Sure. It's max@maxbess.com.
And then spell it. MAX
@maxbess.com.
Okay. All right. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter @LandlordBook and always be buying assets.